Now we're going to step the difficulty up just a tiny little bit. Now we still have the first same 6 words, find an equation of the line. So before we read any further, we're going to jot down y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we're going to jot down that we need a point and we need a slope. Now again, I told you last time that this organization is really important. And this is really important to avoid some of the common errors that I see in these types of problems. One of those common errors in a situation like this, that as we read through this, we say, oh, we're given 2 different ordered pairs. We got 1, 2, and 3, 5 here. Now, when we plug in one of these ordered pairs, we got to make sure that we plug in the same ordered pair for the x and the y. And that's what we're going to write it down. So when I jot down what point I want, I can choose either one as long as I make a decision. I don't want to plug the x from one point and the y from the other. That would mess me up. Thus, I'm going to write down that I'm going to plug in the ordered pair 1, 2. And again, it doesn't matter if I chose 1, 2, or 3, 5. I chose 1, 2 because, quite frankly, it's smaller numbers. Now, as far as the slope, we have a little bit of work to do. But given the fact that we know 2 ordered pairs, we can calculate the slope. So we know that the slope here is going to be the difference in their y's over the difference in their x's. Now, which one of these is x1, y1, and which of these is x2, y2? It doesn't matter as long as, again, you stay consistent. So I'm going to say that this guy is the x2, y2. He's what I'm going to start the subtraction with. I'm going to make that note to myself so I don't flip-flop it. So I'm going to do the difference in the y's, 5 minus 2, over the difference in the x's, which is 3 minus 1. That gives me a 3 on the top, a 2 on the bottom. So our slope is 3/2. And I purposely want to show you an example of a fraction slope to show you some strategies. So let's go ahead and just plug these numbers into point slope form. We have y minus the y value equals slope times x minus the x value. Now the first thing that I always do is I try to say, if I distribute that 3/2 across, will the x1 kill my fraction for me? So if that 1 right there had been a multiple of 2, so if it had been 2, 4, 6, 8, I'd say, awesome. That's going to kill the denominator of 2 for me on its own. Let me go ahead and distribute. Now, because that's not the case, I would rather say, all right, fractions suck. Let's get rid of the fractions. Now, to do so, we need to multiply both sides of the equation by 2. Now, things can get a tiny bit tricky in doing this, and that's why I want to show you an example. Left-hand side, I'm just going to go ahead and copy down. But I see people making errors on the right-hand side, so I want to take a step back and talk about what's actually happening here on the right-hand side. So this is going to be my kind of work spot over here. What's actually happening on the right-hand side is I'm basically multiplying 3 things together. A times B times C. Those 3 things are 3/2, x minus 1, and 2. Those are the 3 things that I'm multiplying together. So this would be similar to if I were multiplying 2 times 3 times 4 together. Now when I do that, when I multiply 2 times 3 times 4, I multiply 2 of them together and get an answer, and then I multiply those. I don't distribute the 4 to both the 2 and the 3. This does not become 8 times 12. That's ridiculous. That's not the way that works. We multiply 2 of them together and get an answer. Now when I was doing this 2 times 3 times 4, I could have did the 3 and 4 first. That would get me an okay answer. I also could have did the 2 and the 4 first. No matter how I do it, as long as I multiply 2 of them and get an answer, and take that answer and multiply by the third, it works. And that's what's going to happen over here on our right-hand side. So coming back to our problem, we're going to multiply the 3/2 and the 2 together first and get an answer. Now in doing so, the 2's divide out and just leave me the 3. But notice that I don't also multiply the x minus 1 by 2. I've already multiplied by 2 and got an answer. Now I'm going to take that answer, 3, and multiply by the x minus 1. So now we've got this problem with no fractions in it. And now we can do whatever we want to do with it. So if our goal is to get into function notation, I can solve to get the y by itself. So I would do that by adding the 4 to the other side, and then dividing both sides by 2, keeping in mind that when I divide by 2, I need to distribute that 2 into both. And then instead of y equals, we have f of x equals. Now, if we wanted standard form, from this step up here, I would have subtracted the 3x to the other side, and that would give me my standard form answer.